Hi, I'm Bob Hochmuth, a Regional Extension Agent with the University of Florida IFAS Extension System, and I'm here at the North Florida Research and Education Center, Swanee Valley, just east of Live Oak. In today's video, we are going to talk about experiment number 2 in our controlled release fertilizer studies. The first approach that we discussed in the previous video is where we use a controlled release material for the entire season. In this version, the research topic is going to be focused on the nitrogen only at the beginning of the season. So in this study, we have applied a conventional nitrogen fertilizer source under the bed, and we've also, in other plots, have applied a controlled release fertilizer nitrogen only material in the bed. All other nutrients have been provided equally between those two treatments. So nitrogen in the bed, either controlled release or conventional. The second thing that we want to look at here is the impact of irrigation on the movement of nitrogen through the soil profile. The soils here are very sandy, and nitrogen is very mobile in events where we either have a leaching rain or if we tend to over-irrigate. So I've got soil moisture sensors in the experiment here, and I use them to guide the irrigation schedule very precisely. In one case, I'm irrigating based on what we would consider our best management practices for irrigation through drip irrigation. The other treatment for irrigation is twice that amount, so that in that situation, I'm more likely to create a leaching event. And when I create that leaching event, I want to know whether the conventional nitrogen source moves more quickly or equal to what a controlled release fertilizer source might be. In this case, we're focused on the nutrient that is of prime importance in this region. The Swanee Valley region is concerned mostly about nitrogen leaching into the groundwater, so that's our focus for here. By focusing only on controlled release nitrogen, the application here would be much less expensive than a complete fertilizer with all of the nutrients that would be in a controlled release form. So we've reduced the cost a little bit by focusing only on nitrogen. A portion of the nitrogen was supplied under the bed with those two sources, and then the remaining part would be injected into the system through our peristaltic pumping system with our generator. So I have 2 zones, but I also have 2 timers. In the best management irrigation practices, I have over here set up so that I can only apply the water as needed based on the soil moisture sensors. And so this timer runs this zone, and all of those lines are tied together on that timer. The 2x irrigation events are managed by this timer over here. So I set it for twice the amount that we would run over here. At this time of the season, we would probably have at least 2 irrigation events a day. It might be 45 minutes in the morning and 45 minutes in the afternoon. Those would be the typical BMP. In the 2x irrigation, I would double the time, so it would be an hour and a half twice a day, so that we can take a look at what happens to the nitrogen in those 2 fertilizer treatments. I'm focused mainly on the controlled release portion in the beginning of the season because that's when the system would be most vulnerable to leaching losses. When the root system is small, we don't have as much of a root system there to capture the nitrogen as it's available. And so I think that's typically where we want to focus that controlled release portion of the nitrogen. We're collecting a series of data points in both of these experiments. They're both similar in their data points. We look at collecting yield, of course, and then we also are evaluating soil sampling at different depths for nitrogen throughout the soil profile. And I'm also taking leaf tissue samples to see if I am meeting the nutrient requirements of this crop throughout the season. It's just a different approach to what we were doing previously, and would be maybe a little more economical for the grower to transition into controlled release by focusing on the main nutrient, which would be nitrogen at the beginning of the season.